defensively for no run. That's the end of the 27th over of the Pakistan innings. 52 for 1. Abid 27, Azhar 0.
Well, I think the coaches probably would have just he will have known, but if you look back at the evidence, he kept falling over and getting LBW.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the long and short of it against England. So what was he going to do about it? He had to address that head falling to the offside. How could he be better balanced? And it's really at the point of release he needed to be in a better position, so he withdrew that left leg and tried to get his head and leg going towards the bowler as opposed to across the crease.
How do you balance that out? Because sometimes you find batsmen are adjusting their technique to avoid getting the outside edge, and I saw him talking about it a little bit earlier. He was talking about being edged out or snicked. We like to say snick in Pakistan. I don't know why they say snick. And he said, I kept getting edged out in 2016 and I made this adjustment to my technique, but I overcorrected. How do you find that balance? Archer coming in now, and a ball that just threatened the outside edge, kept a little bit low, and Abid Ali just missing it on the bounce through to the keeper for no run. How do you kind of balance that adjustment, Mark? It's so fine.
Batting is not a game of perfect. It's if you play down the line of the stumps, you may say that your outside edge is exposed and you're in danger of snicking off. If you get across your stumps and look to back yourself when the ball is straight to hit it through the leg side, if you miss it, you risk being LBW.
Archer in now once again. Good line, left alone by Abid Ali through to the keeper for no run.
But I think what he did brilliantly in that knock of 140 is that he's obviously been away, tried it in the nets, felt comfortable with it, and it's got to be player-led. That the coach can suggest it, but he can't impose it. The player's got to believe in it, and obviously he tested it out, felt reasonably comfortable with it, and the evidence was there. He could defend, he got access to the ball, so those balls that Broad was bowling that were nipping back, Jimmy Anderson, he could get the bat on them as opposed to being too far across.
Archer in once again, another short delivery, this time angled in towards the batsman, who ducked just in time for the ball to whistle over his head through to the gloves of Josh Buttler. No run. So, I mean, it is that adjustment you say, it's so fine to make, and it's kind of something you're constantly doing, I imagine, because after this series, Pakistan will go off and play a home series against Zimbabwe, we hear, and again, that will require a different technique, I imagine. You don't need to account for the moving delivery or that ball angling into you and stuff. So are you constantly making adjustments to your technique? I'll get your thoughts again as Archer once more in quickly and pushed into the offside defensively by Abid Ali for no run.
Well, sometimes players can drift it through and they're changing when they don't realise it, and then suddenly, he's moving too much. I wouldn't have thought that he has to change it greatly for the Zimbabwe series. He's defended straight. I think he's looked better balanced. Look, if someone bowls a really good ball that moves away and he edges it, well, that's just that's just bad luck, and that's just the game. But I felt he played really well and straight, played well in the V.
In comes Jofra Archer, this time flicked into the leg side by Abid Ali. He'll take a single to Stuart Broad at fine leg. 53 for 1. Is it? Yeah, it's. I mean, do we underplay the mental toughness it takes as well, Rams? Because we talked a lot about the technical adjustment, and that's fine and understanding it, but also just all that critique weighing you down. And I know he said in a couple of interviews things like, I don't really pay attention to the negative press, I just focus on my game. But how do you shut out that press? I mean, how did you find it when you were playing, when you're aware of what's in the papers and what people are writing about you? How do you shut that out while you're out there?
Oh, look, it's tremendously difficult, and even if you try not to look at the papers, you can guarantee that one of your friends will ring you up and say, oh, look, just as Archer comes in here, that one bit straight, and Azhar Ali showing through the leg side, he's world class. He's just picked up a couple of runs through square leg there off Jofra Archer, but that was a feature of his innings, actually, that when the England bowlers did go too straight, that he picked them off beautifully through the leg side. His timing was excellent, his balance was excellent, but I think it helps when he made that adjustment. I think it helps that he's had 16 Test hundreds under his belt, that he knows he belongs at this level, and so he was getting himself into trouble. England had, they knew the plan to him, and so I think that he had no choice really but to try and adjust. But to have that experience under your belt really helps.
55 for 1 is the score. Pakistan still 255 runs behind England as Bess is going to continue. Azhar Ali off the mark with that 2 into the leg side. He's on 2 from 11 deliveries. Abid Ali on strike as Bess comes in and just outside the off stump. Pushed back to him for no run. Got plenty of time to bat here, Pakistan. They'll be looking to bat and bat and bat. I've seen a lot of, people praying for rain and such on Twitter, and I really think, wouldn't you rather just watch them play? They've come and played in England after such a long time. Don't you want to see them play? Slip in place, short leg in place. In comes Dom Bess, wide and flat this time, and Abid cutting but not finding the gap in the covers. No run. He gets back to his mark very quickly, does Dom Bess, ready to run in and bowl. Was a feature of a couple of Pakistani leg spinners. I remember Danish Canaria would come in very quickly, be at the top of his run every time, and almost just kind of rush the batsman. That attempt to just one over, get 3 or over. Ramnaresh Salvan was another one. In comes Dom Bess once again, and this time the ball played with soft hands to that fielder at short leg on the bounce. Abid on 28 of 94 deliveries. Looks very relaxed, looks very settled. Probably pleased to be at this end facing Bess rather than the other end facing Archer. In comes Dom Bess once again. A little bit of flight, given a bit more angle and drift into the batsman, who plays it into the leg side for no run. Yeah, 4 deliveries into his over already. Very quick. Good for over rates. Dom Bess, of course, hasn't given anything away yet. Pakistan still 55 for 1. 2 deliveries away from a maiden here. Dom Bess. And he comes once again. Lots of flight given, and once more, lots of respect shown by Abid Ali. Nice and forward with soft hands.
I mean, his best ball's a really good ball, Job Bess. He's quite gets bowls a good pace of delivery, gets it up and down quite quickly, and we've seen already in the first innings where he got some balls to turn and bounce, and that's what I want to see more of, a more consistency of bowling his best ball.
In comes Dom Bess, slightly fuller this time, and driven to that fielder in the leg side for no run. It was Rory Burns who collected and gets the ball back to end the 29th over. 55 for 1 Pakistan, still 255 adrift of parity in this match. They're following on. It's day 4, still a day and a half to go, and plenty of overs left to come today. Do you know how many overs to come today, Andy?
41 more. A little stat on Shan Masood, who started the series with 156, just 23 more runs since then in 4 innings, so 179 series aggregate, which is the lowest aggregate by a batsman who's batted at least 5 times in a series, who's scored 150 in an innings, which was a query given to me by Stefan Schemmelt, our BBC colleague, to see whether that ever happened before.
You guys have got just way too much free time, seriously.
Jofra Archer in now, and starts with a full delivery, which has been driven back to him by Azhar Ali. He collects in his follow-through. Bit of aggression in that follow-through. Wouldn't you love it? These stats are great, Rams. We love these stats.
No, I take it all back.
The request is quite an unusual one, I must say, to find, what's the lowest aggregate a score of a batsman that got 150 in a test series. That's very well done, Stefan. That's a hell of a request. Well, Archer at the top of his run, 3 slips in place, fielders walking in comes Archer, he bowls and short and wide outside the off stump, through to the keeper, no run. We'll see a lot of that today, I suspect. Pakistani batsmen on the defensive, as our American friends might say. They've got a lot of patience to demonstrate here over the next day and a half.
But to their credit, they've played pretty normally, haven't they? I mean, I was talking about their mindset and trying to play for a draw and how do you go about it. And I was very impressed with the way that they've really been resolute in defence, as you say, but also they've still put away the bad ball and played in a relatively normal test match fashion. In
comes Archer again, pushing Azhar Ali onto the back foot. He himself in turn pushes the ball into the offside for no run. It's very difficult. To England's credit, they've bowled quite reasonably consistently, considering the ball's not been doing very much, not much lateral movement, not much support from the conditions. They've actually managed to keep it in quite a good area for the most part, and been patient themselves, because they know eventually they're going to get a mistake from the Pakistani batsman, as they got from Shan Masood, leaving one that was, probably quite judiciously, really.
Yeah, that was a misjudgment, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
In comes Jofra Archer once again, a bit fuller this time, driven towards the fielder at mid-on, who does well to get round to it. No run, so a little passage of dot balls here for England, building that pressure, hoping to incite the false stroke from the Pakistani batsman. Azhar's on 2 from 15 here, Abid Ali 28 from 97. And And how many balls have passed since a run was scored, Andy Zaltzman?
10.
Okay. Felt like more, didn't it? Felt like more. Sorry. It's a good round number. That's okay. It's a good time to get it in. It's okay. Be on standby with that, please. In comes Archer for the 11th consecutive dot ball of this innings for England. One ball to come in is over. 55 for 1 Pakistan. And really, it's kind of in a holding pattern, the game right now. We're just waiting for something to happen. If from an England perspective, from a Pakistan perspective, they're very happy to let this passive phase continue. Though a boundary or a couple of singles here and there would dissipate that pressure mark.
Yeah, I think it's quite a big afternoon for Dom Bess, actually, because the sun's out here. He's been brought on relatively early. It was a very good over that he bowled, which was a maiden over, importantly, the last one.
In comes Archer once more. A short delivery, this time comfortably ducked underneath by Azhar Ali, and that completes Archer's over. 55 for 1 after 30. Mark, please do tell us why we should look out for Dom Bess today. And very shortly, I beg your pardon, you're going to be joined by Jonathan Agnew. But I'm listening from the back of the room.
Excellent.
Don't worry, I never miss a Mark Ramprakash analysis session.
Okay. Well, I think England invested this summer in Dom Bess, after his good performances in South Africa, and looking ahead to the winter, hopefully there'll be test match cricket that will go ahead, and so Dom Bess is hopefully learning all the time. He's not had a huge amount of first-class cricket. I just would like to see a little bit more consistency from him. His best ball is a really good ball, and he's got a good opportunity with lots of runs on the board here and Pakistan sort of playing in a fairly conservative fashion at the moment to get some overs under his belt. What do you think, Abbas?
I agree with you. And he goes wearing his sunglasses, tosses this up, it's driven through cover. I like the fact there's a bit of a gap there to entice the drive, and they're going to pick up 2 runs. Abid moves into goes to 30 now. It's 57 for 1. Good news from the rain radar. It looks like we might get through much of this session actually before we get any more rain, which is really good. We had a downpour earlier on, so it has restricted play this session. There was a very long one of 52 overs without a break. Bess again wearing 47. Well, that's turned around the corner down to backward square leg where they take 1 run. You played because you pulled off a brilliant run out in Melbourne, didn't you? I might not make my games all confused, but I think it was a catch. It's a catch.
I caught my mate Justin Langer.
You did.
And got quite excited.
It was a brilliant catch. It wasn't a run out, it was a catch. And that was a long session. That was about 4 hours or so.
Yeah, it was.
Not forever. Incredible game of cricket. And this is defended stubbornly by Azhar. And there's no run. 58 for 1. Because Steve Waugh, he took the extra half hour, didn't he? I was thinking they were going to win, but it was a great game of cricket. Really strange weather too, from memory, the first day. There goes Bess, tossing it up, flicked away to mid-wicket. Rory Burns fields, backpedaling a little bit. But this one won't be quite as long as that, but it'll be... they go through to 7:30. Giving, 3 3/4 hours. Bess again, with shaggy-haired bowls, and Azhar again just defends this, just knocks it back for the bowler to kick up with his right boot.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that really, because that is an awfully long session. I mean, we want cricket being played, we want entertainment, but does that affect the integrity of the game?
It's a long slog, isn't it? Bess again, and that's worked her way out to mid-wicket. And there is no run, 58 for 1. It's a long session when you know that there's only going to be one side in the field.
Yeah, and in terms of, I mean, some people might say, oh, well, look, we were out there for 50 overs in a one-day international, so why can't they do it? And that's a fair point. But at the same time, the ability to rotate your quick bowlers and then to have that rest in the middle, maybe 2 hours or 2.5 hours even, but nevertheless, to regroup and have the break, that would seem to be almost, if you don't have that and you have a 3 3/4 hour session, that's almost messing with the fabric of the game, the integrity of the game to some degree.
Well, the bowlers, if they do sit through to 7:30, are going to be pretty exhausted, but they've certainly taken 1 wicket so far. 58 for 1. A wicket taken by Broad. Now changing the field here. We've got a man coming to backward square leg, but short, so backward short leg, really catching there. I was recounting this tale the other day of what you must never call that position. I'll run it past you in a second. 58 for 1. And in comes Archer. Bowls outside the off stump, and Abid lets that go through. What would you call that position?
Where Zach Crawley is now? I would normally, 9 times out of 10, I think that's leg gully. I'm going to get told off now, aren't I?
I remember I called it that once in about 1992. And I was going out of the commentary box at Lord's and I bumped into Jim Swanton. He said, "I'm enjoying your commentary very much, Jonathan, but let me tell you this, you will never call that position leg gully again. That's what the Australians do. Backward short leg." So, well, thank you, Jim, or Mr. Swanton, and scurried off. There's Archer bowling outside the off stump, and there's no stroke from Abid. Lets it go through. So once you've been slightly ticked off by Big Jim, that's it. It's always stuck with me, that backward short leg.
Well, what would he be there? About sort of 12, 14 yards away?
He is leg gully, really. There isn't such a position, at least not in the official Jim Swanton field placings of the Lords of Cricket.
Can you call him leg fifth slip or fifth leg slip?
I think you call him that. No, you can't call him any of that. Backward short leg. There's the next one, a bouncer. And Abid ducks under this, a lively ball from Archer. The fact that the Australians call it that was the final straw for poor old Jim.
What I do know is if Abid Ali flicks one off Jofra Archer, it'll go awfully quickly to leg gully there. Yeah, someone might have to get the rebound.
It will go very quickly. So Crawley's standing there. The suggestion being they could try and Crawley's standing there. The suggestion being they could try and really get the ball up into the armpit, but there's no short leg. There's Crawley there, his hands on his knees. 3 slips, Archer's on his way, bowls to him, and Abid turns that out towards mid-wicket. He's playing very well here. 103 balls for his 31. And his captain, presumably, will just try and carry on the way he batted so beautifully yesterday. And they do have plenty of incentive. They'll have seen the weather forecast like everybody else. They know that they've got a very good chance of being able to save this game. 252 behind. Azhar's dancing on his toes there, keeping himself loose. Archer scurries in again. He's there and he bowls on the off stump. And Abid gets well forward, gets his head right over the ball. Plays it out towards mid-wicket, mid-on, that sort of area. Woakes is there polishing the ball harder in his trousers. So no wicket for Jimmy Anderson yet. He's 2 away. But there was a drop catch. Another one. Buttler responsible this time. Anderson standing at wide mid-off at the moment with his hands on his hips. Watching as Archer moves in and bowls, and that's worked away into the leg side by Abid. A shout of nay, nay, nay from Azhar Ali to send his partner back in again. It's the end of the over. 58 for 1, so 32 overs completed. And he's had a drinks break. It looks as if it is. We've got 1 or 2 people running on, 1 or 2 people running off. It's a usual sign of a drinks break about to be taken. 4th umpire's coming on. Groundsman, that's always the giveaway. On they come. There's brooms and brushes and buckets and so on. So there'll be a break, a drinks break. 58 for 1. Funny old thing, there's drinks breaks these days, aren't they? Because all the players, all the fielders can have drinks on the boundary edge. The batsmen have drinks brought out to them by the 12th. I think these days, really, it's only the umpires that benefit from a drinks break.
Well, it's also, I suppose, a way of trying to disrupt the batsman's concentration.
Yes.
Because often, as you know, it's often a wicket that falls after a break. So I suppose the fielding side, might cling on to that. But
were you conscious of that when you were playing?
In terms of breaks?
So, yeah, if you were batting when there was a drinks break, we absolutely conscious of saying to yourself, come on, we've already knuckled down again here.
Yeah, I think it's a real skill to be able to switch, I was going to say switch off and on. A lot of people would say that, or up and down, to switch up and down. So I think when you go into lunch, yes, you try and relax as best you can, but then you have to be back on it, don't you? Because it only takes one ball, one mistake, one slight misjudgment, as Shan Masood found out, and it often happens after a break. So I guess England will cling on to that. I was going to speak to you about Jos Buttler. I mean, after the magnificent performances he's put in, and a great catch yesterday as well down the leg side, to drop that fairly straightforward charge just sort of opens the door again to a bit of discussion. I mean, is he your player of the summer, England player of the summer?
I'm not. I've voted,
but you're not allowed to say.
Well, I'm keeping my powder dry on that one, but I can say no.
Right. Okay.
But he's very close.
Okay.
But won't he be just furious that because he had so much positive stuff going with him, with the batting and the wicket keeping yesterday, and then when you're right, it was a sitter, wasn't it? It didn't deviate very much. It wasn't much of a deflection. I'm not sure he even got a glove on it.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think it went straight through.
Yeah, it didn't seem to dip.
Concentration required. It's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
A wicketkeeper, a batsman, it's exactly the same. You just can't afford to misjudge it. He didn't look particularly well balanced when the chance came through. I know it was a little low to his left.
What it'd be like though in the winter in Sri Lanka and India happens keeping helmet on if you're standing up to the stumps a lot. Every ball, it's a relentless job, isn't it?
Well,
it's the toughest in cricket. I mean, fast bowling, you can go off and have a breakdown at final leg, but wicket keeping, and you're responsible for drumming up all the energy and the noise and the enthusiasm and so on, as well as concentrating on your own game. You're sort of the engine room, aren't you? You're
the heartbeat of the side, unquestionably, in the field, and you always want a busy, noisy keeper who's trying to cajole along everybody else. Ben Foakes, of course, was chosen in Sri Lanka last time.
Yes.
I see he got 100 for Surrey. So he's keeping his name in the frame there, and that'll be fascinating, won't it? I mean, hopefully there'll be Test cricket abroad for England this winter.
Yeah.
And when they do, or hopefully when they do have that, there'll be certainly some different conversations around players and make-up and balances of sides.
Cookies, 129 not out at Arundel. Essex are taking on Hampshire. All the scores and everything is on the BBC Sport website, of course, and on the app. Ricky Clark has taken 5 for 15, so taking Surrey to the verge of victory over Kent after that Ben Foakes century we were talking about. So things boiling up. Certainly some better weather around the rest of the country than down here in Southampton, but hopefully we can get at least we tend to find another couple of hours play in anyway, and see if England can make some proper inroads and then try and finish it off tomorrow. But the forecast for tomorrow is pretty horrendous, certainly in the morning. Some new storms coming in. Has there ever been a storm Ebony coming in? Have we had one of those yet?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. I'd prefer it to be Ebony Jewel, though. Like, when my name's written down, I like it to be my proper first name.
I think
Storm Ebony Jewel.
I mean, can you apply, I wonder, to the weather centre and say, look, I want my name to be named after one of these storms? It's all done in alphabetical order, isn't it?
You must have a contact somewhere.
Who have we got? A friendly...
Does Lucy Velaswamy would know someone?
Oh, yes.
She would know who...
Who names the storms?
Yeah.
She would. We haven't heard from Lucy Velaswamy for a while. Very keen cricket fan. Storm Ebony is on the way. It's arriving in 24 hours. Watch out. Batten down the hatches.
I was just about to say.
In comes Bess then and bowls almost a full toss, which is squeezed into the offside. And they take one run. 58 for one.
It would be rhythmical. I don't think it would be just straight rain. I think you would see it's dancing to a beat or something. Have a bit of flair.
What about the wind?
It'd just be be moving. It'll be all happening.
If it's a storm, it's got to be furious wind.
Yeah.
Not sure what it's got to be a storm. There's got to be something pretty nasty, hasn't it? Then goes Bess and he bowls. It's tucked away out to mid-wicket.
I can guarantee my storm would not have furious wind.
It it might have to. It wouldn't be a storm otherwise. It would just be a rain shower. I think you've got to have the wind. Bess again strides in over the wicket. Bowls, short legs crouching there as Abid defends this one. Picked up by the fielder there. I think it's Bracey probably. It always seems to happen that the the young batsman gets pushed in there, and of course we're hoping that Ollie Pope's shoulder has not been seriously damaged. There's the next one, and again Abid plays that from the crease, lots of oohs and ahs and arms being raised and so on, but he clipped that away quite firmly for Burns to field at mid-wicket.
I'd like to see him get the batters maybe 3 or 4 balls in a row on the front foot. Just always that little let-off, like that one there.
Bess again, this time does bring him forward, and picked up by Bracey with the helmet on at short leg. Bess really can, as Mark Ramprakash was saying, settle into quite a long spell here, really. They can rotate the quicker bowlers from the other end. Bess again, bowls. Oh, it's gone straight through, and there's an appeal, but again, not a confident appeal, but that's a quicker ball he has got, and it fizzed past the outside edge. And whether it's the intentional arm ball, I don't think so.
No.
It's what spinners call natural variation, which is another new term, which is basically the off spinner or the wrist spinner, whatever sort of spinner it is that doesn't spin. That's actually what it is, isn't it?
And it kicks on, it just carries on. That was good though, like you say, just bringing him forward. Like, you know, I spoke to him last night after the game actually. He was so delighted to get 18 overs in yesterday. It was like a meaty, meaningful spell. So today's another window just to find that rhythm as a young bowler.
He's a character, isn't he?
Very funny.
Yeah, he's got a lot about him.
I liked his answers as well. You get used to you could almost write sometimes the responses, but not him. He's happy saying his views. He was very open. Yeah, I think it's a good sign. You can tell they'll really enjoy him around.
And spinners need to have a bit of spikiness about them. They can't just lob the ball up at 50 miles an hour apologetically. They've got to have a bit of an edge to them. Now we've got Chris Woakes coming on. And, from that far end, he's going through his physical jerks, loosening up and so on. He's going to bowl to Azhar, who's faced 22 balls now for his 3. That beautiful innings yesterday. But he knows. He bats out today with a very good chance Pakistan will be able to save this game. So Woakes kicks up his heels, and up he comes and bowls. Oh, it's a nice one for Azhar to clip away. Fortunately for Woakes, he's hit straight to mid-wicket. A yard or two either side. I think Bracey would have been running to the boundary to go and collect it. Quite a gentle loosener, that one. That's half volley round about the leg stump.
Just 27 runs in the last 22 overs.
Woakes turns around at the far end, the sun beating down now. That's a springy run, he's there, and he bowls wide of the off stump this time. Keeps rather low, barely carries to Buttler. And as Raddy looks at it, plays no stroke. Returned round the field.
Woakes was getting some really good movement earlier actually. I thought he got some of the most pronounced swing with the newish ball. It's just starting to come into that zone now, isn't it?
Root at first slip, waiting now. All those slip fielders there waiting for an edge, as this one's played slightly across that pad, but straight. And then it goes to Archer at mid-on. None of the flicky stuff that's got Azhar in trouble before. He really seems to have worked out his game for now, certainly for playing cricket in England anyway. Just opening out his stance a little bit. So in fact on the flatter pitches of Pakistan, the subcontinent, so on, he could go back to the ways he normally plays, and has played so successfully over the years. But here he's got to be a bit careful, that ball coming back. Then goes Woakes, bowls to him, and it, again keeps a little bit low, thumps into the bottom of the bat and trickles away for Archer to field at mid-on. Now, storms, other than we would get this. Storms in the UK were named by members of the public. So the Met Office started a campaign called #NameOurStorms 4 years ago and got more than 10,000 suggestions. So you missed your chance.
I mean, that was 4 years ago. I'm hoping they might consider it again. What are we looking at here? Some names?
Bowling, that's turned out towards mid-wicket. And there's no run. Well, I could help you, because one of my wife's best friends is in charge of BBC weather.
Oh, yeah?
So do you want me to put a quick bid in for you?
Yeah, let's put it in.
Do you want all the names or just a couple?
I think Ebony Jewel's good. I like Ebony Jewel.
Well, I'll see what
Sounds
I can do.
a bit nicer than...
Let me see what I can do.
All right.
So they've got all the winter ones lined up already. Oh, that's for last year, is it?
Storm Kitty.
Yes. Then goes Woakes again and bowls. Oh, he feels for that. It just goes past the outside edge. And there's no run there. Francis is on her way, isn't it? Isn't it Francis?
So that's what's next, is it?
Yeah, so you've just missed out the E again. There's so much brightness on that screen. It's very difficult to read the names,
Could I
unfortunately.
get in Jan? In J? J's got Jan, but could I get in Storm Jewel?
No.
No.
But I'll see what I can do.
Put a bid in.
I'll put a bid in for you then. Right, more thoughts from you, and then Isha's coming in here.
Yeah, well, it's just a quiet period in the game here. Pakistan just tempering the flow, as you said, Andy, a moment ago. Not a huge amount of runs. Chris Woakes was bowling with good control in the channel, but Pakistan able to just leave or get behind it. Dom Bess, though, back into attack, Ish.
Here comes Bess from the northern end. Flighted delivery to Abid Ali, who defends. Falls in front of short leg. As he now has the ball back in his hand and heads to the top of his mark. Shadow following him, as it's a little skip before he's into his stride. Bess bowls. Abid Ali turns it to short leg once more. Two men deep on the leg side. There's a deep point out on the boundary. Joe Root standing with his arms folded at slip. Needs something here from the off spinner as Bess. It's past the umpire, bowls to Ali, who defends once again. Names. So Jewel, Ebony or Jewel?
Yeah.
What about Corley, Camellia,
Rosamond?
If they use all your names, it'll basically be the global apocalypse.
As deep mid-wicket comes in.
Hey, I saw Zed was missing on that list. Zaltzman. That's a nice storm name.
As Bess bowls back of a length to Abid Ali, who's on the back foot, defending to Dom Sibley at extra cover.
Would you take it?
Storm Zoltz.
Well, my dad's called Zachariah. So
Oh, yeah.
that'd be a Storm Zach. That's what Pakistan suffered early in this match.
As Bess comes through, tosses this one up to Abid Ali, who drives to extra cover. Sibley collects the ball and tosses it back to Bess. Yes, Crawley standing at mid-wicket at the moment. Tall frame of his. As Bess through his action to Abid Ali. Is that out? As he hits it up onto his pad, and James Bracey comes forward to take the ball at short leg. No, the signal is not out from Richard Illingworth, but certainly a more threatening delivery for Dom Bess as England decide not to review. That's the end of the over.
Yeah, got a little bit of turn on that one, didn't he? Good seam position. Just gripped off the surface, turned more, but ended up hitting quite high on the thigh pad and popping up. But good signs, though. Yeah, confirmation. Clearly missed the bat.
So Chris Woakes to continue from the pavilion end. Hasn't bowled too much in this test match, as he will have 3 slips in position. Pakistan 59 for 1, then trailing by 251. Azhar Ali, the Pakistan captain, on 3. Abid Ali on 31 at the non-strikers end, as Woakes is in. Bowl short, nearly chops onto the stumps. Azhar Ali really got into the surface there. It leapt up. Azhar Ali looking to play it through the offside. It's the bottom of the bat, and it slams down into the ground and falls in front of the stumps. As he sets up once more, taps his bat down a couple of times. Woakes approaches the crease, bowls full. Azhar Ali drives to Zach Crawley at cover, tosses it to James Anderson. Nice warmth coming through here, Ebony.
It must be nice for the players, I think. This summer has had its mixed weather, but actually when you've got a bit of heat like this, especially as a seam bowler, nice to just keep getting through your action, body warm.
It's a gentle breeze blowing across the pitches. Woakes bowls back of a length to Azhar, who defends to the offside. Crawley sprints in to collect the ball. Lots of clouds dotted around here in Southampton. There's James Anderson. I wonder what he'll be thinking at the moment. Another
I would not
catch going down early on today.
Would not want to be in the changing room.
Could have been on 599 in fact. There's Woakes on an angle bowl short. It's gone high up in the air as Azhar looks to pull. It goes up and above, slips, falls safely as Rory Burns runs to chase the ball down, turns and throws into the stumps. Azhar moves to 561 for one then, Pakistan. Chris Woakes has a knack when he's bowling short to take wickets.
Well, interestingly there, I think Azhar thought he was going to bounce a little bit more, maybe a half a foot higher, so ended up having to drop his hands, and at that moment ended up skewing it on the top edge of the bat. Got away with that.
Woakes shuffles in again past the stumps. Azhar this time patting the ball to the offside. It's just a gentle nudge really to extra cover as he wanders off to square leg. James Anderson, 14 runs that he went for from his 9 overs. Must have been a difficult task to take him off when he did, Joe Root, as Woakes comes in again now, running towards us past the umpire. Bowls, Ali squeezes one out, slightly fuller on the off stump, 2 points, no run.
Yeah, I think with Jimmy as well, I was thinking about this earlier, just going back to his interview, only a week or so ago, when he was frustrated that he thought people might have been talking out his career and all that sort of stuff. He made quite a strong statement, which just suggests that, you know, he's feeling the emotions, he's very aware of what's going on. He would be so aware of how important this narrative is to continue, you know, the momentum for his career. You know, it might move forward if there's a winter tour. Jimmy Anderson's on the front of everybody's minds. And so, you know, I think there's a lot more for him. It will feel like a lot more on it than just a milestone. Actually, it's his career that he wants to keep everybody aware. He's good. He's here to stay. Got another couple of years in him.
Looking up to the commentary box at the moment, James Anderson, before he spins into his position at mid-on. Got a couple of red marks on the back of his trousers from where he's been shining the ball, wearing a short-sleeved jumper. A gentle breeze blows across now through the back of his trousers as Dom Bess will continue. Slip in position, Joe Root just asking Deep Point to move slightly squarer as Bess gets into Slightly squarer as Bess gets into his delivery, bowls. Abid Ali fends one off to the offside.
It's so interesting how different players respond as well. I don't know if you remember Catherine Brunt. If you drop to catch off her, I remember you'd think she's forgotten it, and then at breakfast if you drop a spoon or something, it's not just a cricket ball you can't catch.
She remembers.
She was a nightmare. She'd be holding on to things for like a year.
Longer than that. As Bess bowls. Abid Ali sweeps, finds Jofra Archer at short fine, who's quite wide. Takes the ball, no run is taken. There is a man out there at deep square. As Bess has the ball again. Spins himself a catch. As he continues past the umpire. Abid Ali drives solidly, but straight to extra cover. Dom Sibley, reverse hand, flicks the ball back to Bess. The spider cam hovering in the distance, surveying the scene. As Bess, important passage of play for him. Comes in. Bowls. Abid Ali solidly covering the off stump, smothering the ball to the offside. The ball gets tossed around the infield before Bess has the ball once more. He starts, but then sets himself up once more before coming through. Flighted delivery to Abid Ali, driving to extra cover again. Yeah, just looking at James Anderson. 5 wickets in England's first innings, 5 for 56 off 23 overs. He did have 3 catches dropped last night, then 1 off Shah Masood this morning. Joss Buttler behind the stumps, getting nowhere near it as Bess tosses this up to Abid Ali. It's an outside edge past Joe Root, comes through for a single. Looking to play forwards and defend the ball, Abid Ali, as he moves to 32, 62 for 1 then at the end of the over, trailing by 248.
Something to look out for with Jimmy Anderson's pursuit of the 600th wicket. He's now bowled 5,614.1 overs in his Test career. Muralitharan took his 600th wicket with the third ball off, he bowled 5,618.3 overs when he took his 600th wicket. So if Anderson can take 2 in his next 26 balls, he will be the quickest to 600 in terms of balls bowled, albeit Muralitharan did it in his 101st match. Anderson is in his 156th, which illustrates the extraordinary workload of Muralitharan and his phenomenal wickets per match statistic.
That's fine, Andy. As Woakes continues from the pavilion end, Abid Ali looking to punch it through the covers, but catches the inner part of the bat. It slams into the ground and falls in front of Woakes. As Abid Ali has a quizzical look at the pitch, he now comes down and taps the ground.
Yeah, we've seen a couple in the last few overs against Woakes just stay low. The good news for him is just that the pitch hasn't got any pace in it as such, so he's just got time to adjust, had enough time to get his hands a bit lower. Keep gardening.
A straw-like appearance to the pitch as Woakes comes in, wind blowing his hair, manages to keep this one down, a short ball to Abid Ali, gets on top of it, plays it down to fine leg, comes through for 1, goes to 33, 63 for 1, just rode that delivery from Woakes, 83 miles an hour. As Azhar Ali now takes a forensic look at the pitch. As he now sets himself up once more. James Anderson tossing the ball to Woakes at mid-off. It is a phenomenal achievement, isn't it, to even be in the realms of nearly 600 as Woakes on an angle bowls to Abid Ali, who solidly defends back down the pitch. In fact, it's Azhar Ali.
Yeah, there's so many facets to it, isn't it? I think you've got to take all the mindset, the skill. You've got to take in luck as well, and just in the sense of your body staying fit enough to get through those overs. You know, there's a lot of high quality bowlers, but their just bodies haven't been able to keep them in the game long enough.
Azhar Ali crouches, drives, beats Jofra Archer, diving to his right at mid-on. He'll head out to the long-on boundary as they pick up 2, and James Bracey can't stop the ball before it goes into the boundary rope. So Azhar Ali will pick up 4 and go to 9, 67 for 1.
A lot of things to like about this shot. And I think this is a sign of how Azhar Ali has just made slight improvements to his game. He's just kept it coming through the V there, straight back through the mid-on region. Often you would see sort of a slight overbalancing, maybe trying to work it a bit more to the leg side, but he's made some adjustments with his front foot and allowed him to punch in a really good, productive zone.
I had a look at the number of overs bowled by James Anderson this summer as Woakes in again past the stumps, bowls to Azhar Ali, defending to point, no run. Over 140 overs in a space of 5 weeks, and he had 1 test off, of course. That's a lot of overs.
I wonder if the COVID break as such, I don't know how long that is, 4 or 5 months of the players, has also given them all a little bit more longevity. You know, how often do international sports people or athletes have that time out of competitive sport? So, you know, he's maybe got an extra lift to get him through those overs this summer.
Azhar Ali sets himself, works it to mid-wicket. Good length delivery on off stump from Woakes at the end of the over at 67 for 1. 38 overs have been bowled in this innings, having enforced the follow-on England, trailing by 243 Pakistan. Abid Ali 33, Azhar Ali 9. There is the other way of looking at it as well, though, that when you have such a long break, it can be such a shock to the system to bowl so much in such a short amount of time. There are some bowlers who manage it well. There are some who actually like to continually get through their overs just so they have that rhythm and their body is used to it almost. But it is an incredible feat as Don Bess past the umpire to Abid Ali, paddling that away out to the fine leg boundary, beats Jofra Archer, who's now chasing the ball down. Will pick it up inside the rope and throw the ball back in as Ali will come back for 3. Moves to 36, 70 for 1 Pakistan.
Yeah, just kind of adding on that point as well, maybe got to give credit for the England team who got the bowlers back in their individual training programs just to build up their workload. You know, the bowlers have held pretty strong actually through all these test matches. I think there was the thought that more rotation would be needed, more rest needed, but actually, you know, we've seen a good run through for most of the bowlers except Wood.
Short fire now out on the boundary. Jofra Archer down there 10 metres off the rope as Azhar Ali comes forward and works the ball to mid-wicket. No run off the front foot. They all wear those GPS monitors, don't they, just to see how much work they've done in a day. And a day's play is Bess. Bowls a bit flatter this time to Azhar Ali, who is on the back foot this time and working at leg side, falls in front of James Bracey at short leg.
I think the other thing as well is when you get to someone like Jimmy Anderson's age, you know what your body needs to do to peak at the right time.
Azhar Ali drives to extra cover. Dom Sibley diving to the left to take the ball. See Stuart Broad warming up at mid-off.
Yeah, these guys will need less sort of, I mean, obviously they'll have programs and all that sort of stuff, but they'll know exactly what core exercises, everything that needs to be put in place.
Bess flights one to Azhar Ali, who pats the ball back down the track off the front foot. I remember going to Australia a couple of years ago, and their sports and medicine advisor gave us a little talk, gave the broadcasters a bit of a talk about, as I'll get to in a second, as Bess bowls a bit flatter to Azhar Ali. This time he flicks it past Jos Buttler down to the fine leg boundary, bowling it slightly down the leg side, and will pick up 4. Joe Root's run is in vain as Ali moves to 13. Azhar Ali Pakistan to 74 for 1. Yeah, he was talking about how they work out the workloads for the bowlers, even to a point where they will go to the captain and say, I think if he bowls this many overs today, then there is an 80% chance of him getting injured, depending on the conditions, whether they're playing in the subcontinent, at home, the ground conditions, how much fluid they've taken on board, what they've eaten the night before. It's incredible how much detail they go into it.
The data as the game advances, they're getting as much information as they can. Well, I'm being hurried off air.
Ushered off by Michael
Mr.
Vaughan.
Vaughan, you ready
He's
to go?
looking at his watch.
Jimmy Anderson's workload since he last played one-day international cricket, which is at the 2015 World Cup, he's taken 218 wickets in 57 tests at an average of 21.7, and he's bowled 33.4 overs per match on average. In the 5 years before that, 224 wickets and 53 tests, average 26. He bowled 39.5 overs per match. So not only has he not been playing white ball cricket, but he's actually been bowling less in the test team as well. Part of that is due to England having all-rounders, Ben Stokes, as well as Moeen Ali. So before that, particularly when Graham Swan was in the side, it was a 4-man bowling attack. So I think that's one of the things that has contributed to the longevity of Anderson and Broad, is the fact that they've stopped playing white ball cricket, and the balance of the team has enabled them to bowl fewer overs per match.
And also probably batters doing a bit better. Lower scores? No. Stuart Broad will come on from the pavilion, and then he's removed his hat, his brimmed hat, and revealed his bandana covering his blonde locks. So just arranging the field, Jofra Archer has stood at mid-on. He's going to come around the wicket, so short leg gully. He's going to be used as an enforcer here. Deep backwards square, man down on the fine leg boundary, third man, gully, point and extra cover. This could be exciting. Bowling to Abid Ali on 36. Evening, Michael.
Yeah, good evening, Ish. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, a bit of chin music by the looks of it. We bowled a nice spell in Manchester. It's the West Indies around the wicket. And Ben Stokes, it was what got him going this summer. He'd not got a wicket until that stage. Got him through his action, and then he got that second new ball against the West Indies and got 2 or 3 quick ones.
Well, James Anderson has moved from a wideish mid-off now to square leg, so that is a heavily packed leg side field. The only players on the offside, third man, gully, and a short point. Here comes Stuart Broad then, steaming in, bowls around the wicket to Abid Ali, turns that down the leg side, and Dom Bess won't be able to get there. He was positioned at fine leg, running around to his right. It went in between Jos Buttler and Joe Root at leg gully, and he's been able to find a boundary, Abid Ali, even with such a well-populated leg side field. Abid Ali to 40 then, 78 for 1.
Yeah, the boundaries are coming quick and fast now. Such a long time before I hit one Pakistan, then Azhar Ali got a couple, and now Abid Ali. I don't think Stuart Broad will be too perturbed by the fact that he played that one with the fields that he's got set.
Abid standing with an open stance, bat hovering above the stumps. His Broad bowls short, he ducks underneath it, comes through to Buttler. He's been able to negotiate the short ball relatively well after he looked uncomfortable against those short ones from James Anderson. Saunters back to the top of his mark. Stuart Broad into his 8th over. He's bowled 1 for 23. As Abid Ali just readjusts his gloves. Now standing open to Broad. Bowls short again, back of a length, as Abid Ali gets on his toes and works it leg side. No run. Joe Root just having a quick chat to Jos Buttler now.
I think this is I said yesterday when Pakistan were playing well in the afternoon, the Rizwan Azhar Ali partnership, these are the kind of wickets that England will come across in the winter. Very flat, not a great deal of lateral movement. This is a good challenge for the team to get another 9 wickets on this kind of pitch.
Ball short, and is well left from Abid. Deliberately getting down on one knee, allowing it to pass over his right shoulder. You checking out Dan Norcross's trousers? Is that what you're doing? He's coming in next.
Well, the trousers have been worn before. He's got a nice pair of trainers, and he doesn't generally wear a pair of trainers. Maybe he's getting into his activity, a bit of walking or boxing. Boxing is.
As Broad runs towards us, arms pumping. Abid Ali leaves down the leg side this time, just raises his arms and his bat above the stumps. One more ball left, and then I will be handing over to Dan Norcross. I think he's trying to copy your style. The chinos and the trainers.
Well, yeah, he's a bit brighter than me. He was seen last night dancing in the boundary bar whilst playing snooker or pool. Boogieing.
Fancy Strictly, Dan? Yeah, he loves it. Final ball of the over then. Stuart Broad is going to come over the wicket as Abid taps his bat down a couple of times. Broad past the stumps, bowls short. Abid Ali on the back foot and working it past Broad to mid-off. No run is taken at the end of the over then. Pakistan 78 for 1, trailing by 232. Azhar Ali 13, Abid Ali 40. A few more words from you, Michael. And then Dan Norcross.
Yeah, they're playing nicely, this pair. I think and so they should be. They should be fancying scoring a few on this pitch. It's doing nothing for the seamers. And there's just a little bit there for Don Bess. He's just got to get the ball wider of that off stump. There's a nice patch of rough, and it's quite wide. It's probably wider than the right leg of Joss Buttler, which is primarily what you're kind of asking your off spinner to bowl to, that right leg of the wicket-keeper, so you can challenge both sides of the bat. But I reckon the rough is just a little bit wider than that, and with the fact he's got cover point on the boundary, the fact that he's got extra cover in mid-off, so he's got protection for those wide deliveries, I just think he's bowling a bit too straight, Dan.
I agree with you. Also not quite sure. I mean, I was talking to Philip about this, and he is vexed by the deep point. He's not happy about it at all, as Bess is in, and defending is Azhar Ali from the crease, a ball that turns very gently back into him. But while the cricket here may have been a little bit slow, I'm very conscious that you've got a programme to do tonight, Michael.
Oh yes.
Don Bess in, tossed up, worked around the pad by Azhar Ali to Rory Burns at short mid-wicket, and there's a game taking place at Northampton.
Oh, I've just seen this, yeah.
But I think you'll be rather...
Yes.
That you might want to feature tonight in your epic 1.5 hour Tuffers and Vaughan marathon that's coming later this evening. Bess in again defending Azhar Ali around the front pad, but picked up at short leg this time. Glamorgan scored 259 in their first innings, Northants 332. Nothing very odd there, you'd think. Then Glamorgan collapsed to 60 for 8. At that point, they were still 13 runs behind Northamptonshire. Forward in defence comes Azhar Ali and pushes into the offside on this occasion, a little bit wider that time from Bess. No run. 60 for 8. They were in what we call in the trade a bit of a pickle. They were minus 13 for 8 at that stage. Bess in. And again, defending is Azhar Ali. A bit of an ooh and an ah because the ball turned quite sharply on this occasion, but Azhar just played it into the ground and Pope picks up. Last ball of the over. I'm going to get to the substance of this game after this ball. And I think it probably deserves a half an hour all of its own. Bess in. Forward in defence comes Azhar, pushes into the vacant space that has been left by the deep point, and he's able therefore to scamper through for a single. End of the over, 79 for 1. 41 overs have been bowled. Azhar Ali 14, Abid Ali 40. So at this stage, 60 for 8 of 28.3 overs. This brought former South African fast bowler Marchant Delonga to the crease to join Dan Douthwaite. And over the course of the next 19.3 overs, they compiled 168 runs. Marchant Delonga is
currently, as we speak, 108 not out from 68 balls with 6 fours and 9 sixes. Dan Douthwaite has departed stumped by Vashkon Selos off the bowling of Simon Kerrigan for 86 from 92 balls. Andy, I was hoping you could find me the slowest 19.3 overs of this innings and we could compare the scoring rates of Azhar Ali and Abid Ali to Dan Douthwaite and Marchant de Longa. Because that's quite some partnership. That's put Glamorgan 158 runs into the lead.
That's the game to win, isn't it?
Isn't it? Brought in and defended by Azhar Ali. He's come round the wicket and angling the ball in around the hip, and Azhar just plays it into the onside where Archer moves to his right to field. And so the TV's showing a little picture of the dog Winston and his accreditation. And I had a word with Winston. I was peering down over the balcony.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You chat back?
Well, facial expressions, really. You can read a lot into that. We were communicating. Brought in round the wicket, and that's a bouncer, which Azhar Ali evades by just flexing his knees and going down, and the ball comes through to Josh Buttler. There's no run.
And the ball that came through to Josh Buttler, it looped to him. So it was a bouncer that generally you want as a quick bowler, a bouncer to fly through and the keeper to kind of get his fingers pointing towards the sky and it thuds into the chest or the head. Well, that just looped. Josh Buttler had to bend down to grab it. This pitch is very slow now.
Yes, it hasn't fallen apart yet. Brought in again, full this time, and zeroing in around middle stump. And Azhar is able to play it very comfortably, and then sort of describes the movement of the ball from Broad and plays it up to Jofra Archer at wide mid-on. But that's a heck of a partnership, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, a number 10 getting 100 in 68 balls. Well, I think when he got the 100, he got it in about 60, 61.
Yeah, 9 sixes.
Not bad.
He's hit 6 fours, strike rate of 158.
Broken the heart of the editor of Wisden Almanac, I would think, that one. Now there's appeal for caught behind, as that short ball around the hip is largely evaded, I think, by Azhar Ali. There may have been a little noise, but could have been a brush on the side. Will Joe Root just go for the referral because he's desperate for a wicket? There was a tiny noise, but there's not really a great deal of enthusiasm in the appeal, even from Broad.
Well, this is why you need your short leg.
They're not going to go for it.
You need your short leg to be with you, because the short leg, I think, Exchange Brace, he's got the best view.
I think that's brushed the shirt, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just gone off the rib cage.
This is the angle of attack for Broad. He's going round the wicket and aiming at around about the ribs, in this case the lower part of the ribs, and there is that little brush. Just see that little brush actually on the, it's not quite a chest guard, it's more like a sort of midriff guard.
Yeah, but it's a chest guard. It looks like one of these ones that they get made in Australia. I think it's a Renfin. They're quite hard, so it would make a noise. Right. Yeah.
Here's Broad round the wicket again to Azhar Ali, and Azhar is edging that. Is he behind? No, he played and missed at it. That was very close to the outside edge from round the wicket. Azhar could perhaps have left it, but he just got drawn like a moth to a flame, and the ball narrowly evaded his outside edge. Broad's just making something happening here a little bit. That went through quite well to Buttler, who took the take tumbling to his right. This onside field is a forward short leg, a square leg, a mid-wicket, a backward square leg, a deep square leg and a long leg for short, and that well-directed bouncer is evaded again by Azhar Ali. End of a maiden over, 79 for 1 from 42 overs. Andy Zaltzman tells me that the slowest 19.3 over period in this innings accrued 21 runs. So that compares slightly unfavourably with the 168 that Marchant, de Longa and Dan Douthwaite have managed at Northampton. So what are you going to be chatting about tonight on?
Well, I'm led to believe we've got Colin Graves.
Have you?
Yeah, the outgoing ECB chairman. He's done a few interviews this week, one with Abbas on the television, so we'll think of a few different things to ask him, and then I honestly don't know. I never get told until kind of a few minutes before, and generally we make it up as we go along.
Well, yeah, there's a good peek behind the fourth wall there.
We could have some guest appearances because Jason Gillespie is coming on. He's going back to work in Australia, so it'd be good to have Dizzy on.
Don Bess starts a new over. Abid Ali defends from the crease. A ball that turns gently into him from off to leg. Ollie Pope just pops across the pitch to collect the ball.
Well, I presume we'll be doing it in here, so you're more than welcome to come in and do whatever you want.
Oh, yes, I'll come in and I'll barrack from behind. Yeah. Bess in, and he's in many minds there, Abid Ali, and none of them particularly clear ones. This is the ball, a little bit of is that an arm ball? Did that just go on with the arm? It was wide of off stump, and Abid started by thinking he might sweep it.
Well, it's just the line, Dan. It's a line out there that he does go to attempt to sweep, and then he realises it's not there. But that's exactly, just got to live in that line for an over or two and just see what happens.
And it evaded his outside edge through to Buttler. Bess once more, tossed up a bit, turned into the onside. Archer fields at backward square leg. Went straight to him, there's no run.
Apparently Agassi's playing his ukulele live, which should be, I think it'll just be background music throughout the whole show for 90 minutes, just see what he's got.
Okay,
see if he's got it in him to do 90 minutes of ukulele work.
Well, I might come and practice for Strictly then. This is full and defended on the front foot. Back to the bowler in the end. It was heading towards Dom Sibley at extra cover, but Bess intercepted it. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. We'll generally, we'll sing and dance for you in the background, make it a full variety show, if you like. Bess in, and Abid Ali gets a shorter ball, which he clips straight into the ground, and it bounces up towards the hands of Ollie Pope, who manages to intercept it sufficiently well for them not to be able to take a run. Kept his eye on it well, it came at him quite sharply. He got a hand to it, knocked it down, and there's no run. Bess in once more to Abid Ali, and that's a similar delivery, worked away just wide of Pope on this occasion, out to deep mid-wicket.
I would
they pick up a run, 80 for 1, a rare and precious run. Abid Ali to 41, end of the over. Azhar Ali has 14.
I would guess, Dan, that the producers probably gambled on Jimmy Anderson getting 2 more wickets. So,
do you think?
I would think there's quite a big Jimmy Anderson section. So if Jimmy could get 2 more wickets, that would really help the show out.
Well, do you know what? Why don't you do a surreal version? Because if it does rain really badly tomorrow, and he may not get a chance to take those 2 wickets for quite a long time, why don't you just do it as if he has got them?
Well, we'll just do it as if the catches have been taken.
Yes, exactly.
So he's now on 602.
Yeah, I mean, in the alternative universe theory, he's on 602 by now. He'll be somewhere where that's happened, and just play that part.
What if there's another alternative universe in which he's had 20 previous catches dropped and he's nowhere near 600 now?
Well, we can celebrate his 500th then.
Right,
go back to that.
Here we have this wonderful field for Broad's round-the-wicket barrage, and he's coming into Abid Ali. He's got this very fine third man, a gully, a leg slip, forward short leg, many others I'll tell you about shortly, down the leg side, and left alone by Abid Ali. There's no run. So I've given you the forward short leg, the leg slip. Then there's a very conventional mid-wicket saving one, which is Archer. There's a square leg saving one. And then almost directly behind him, but presumably not quite, there's a deep backward square leg, virtually on the rope. And there's a long leg. And now Broad is... What's Broad?
I don't know, having a conversation with Michael Goff. Do you know what I'd like to see, Dan? And I don't think I can remember ever seeing it. The short leg, just at this stage, I don't know if there's enough oomph and kind of bounce for it to go. So I'd just have 2 leg slips.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So the one off the hip. Just have 2. Another one right next to Joe Root's.
Broad in. That's a bouncer. And goes through the keeper, no run. I suppose the problem with that is that you've then got to make sure that... Because your long leg would then have to move, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So you put them in front of square.
Square leg's got to go in front.
Yeah.
And the long leg would have to... Maybe the long leg comes up to your second leg slip.
Just put him in a second leg slip and make him play the shot. Give him a chance to say, all right, if you play, you're going to get a boundary.
There's plenty of runs to play with for England. 230 behind Pakistan still.
Who's that sprinting round the outfield there?
Someone terribly keen.
Who is that? Is that Mark Saxelby, the Masood?
Going at quite a pelt.
That's a good gallop.
Here is Broad, round the wicket again. Full, and that's squeezed out by Abid Ali through the hands of short leg, who is James Bracey. Substituting.
This is obviously a drink down for Don Bess. Look at this down here from Mark Saxelby. He sprinted, which is how many metres that would be from the other end of the ground all the way round to make sure that Bess gets a drink of water.
That's dedication. I realised, by the way, I've been mentioning Ollie Pope because I've just got so used to Ollie Pope being under the lid. He's not out there. It's James Bracey who's short leg, so apologies if you were wondering. It is Bracey. Broad in, short, well-directed bouncer, very well evaded by Abid Ali, who just flexes those knees again, lets it sail through. I quite like this line of attack, though, don't you? They had to try something different because the pitch wasn't really giving them what they wanted. There's no real conventional movement through the air and not a great deal off the seam, so this is an aggressive line of attack. Now, are they checking the ball? Yes, Root gives the ball to the umpire and it goes sailing straight through the contraption. There's now on the other side, though, it's not quite sailing through. So there's two holes in this contraption. One, it goes straight through.
What's the difference in holes?
I don't know.
There must be a size difference because one it goes directly through very quickly, and the other
it got
hole
stuck.
Gets stuck. So
broad in, and that's driven full ball, very full, almost Yorker length, driven back up the wicket, and Broad fields off his own bowling. There is no run. One ball remains in the 44th over. Azhar Ali 14, Abid Ali 41. Pakistan digging in very well here, shown great application. There's no chance for them to win the game, and yet, they might have been forgiven for trying to be a bit flamboyant, but no, they don't mind spending another day in the bubble, making absolutely sure of a draw in this game if they can. Broad in. That's played off the pad by Abid Ali. It was searing in on around about leg stump, but it trickles out to square leg where it's easily collected. No run. 80 for 1. Azhar 14. Abid Ali 41. 44 overs have gone.
Yeah, well, I think this is where the Test Championship really works because, go back to a year or so ago, to 10 years ago, you're 1-0 down with a game to play and you get yourself in this situation, and I felt for Ollie, it's almost like the white towel gets thrown in because you can't get anything out of the series, where every test match matters now. So if Pakistan can get a draw out of this game, it'll be points for the Test Championship. They'll have lost the series 1-0, but I think it's a really good move by the ICC to make every single test match matter.
Yeah, absolutely. The 40 points per test match in a 3-match series, essentially the way you work it out is there are 120 points per series. So in a 2-match series, each game's worth 60 points. Andy's ultimately not like that at all.
Is that wrong, Andy?
He is horrified by that.
Carry on, though, because you were sounding convincing.
Bess in full, driven back into the ground, up in the air, and Bess takes it.
You carry on with your theory, Dan, and go through with that. I want to then ask Andy to see how far wrong you were.
No, so you get 40 points for each match, and they are divvied up 20-20 if it's a draw, 40 for the winner. No first innings points or anything like that. Short and pushed into the offside by Azhar Ali, into that irksomely massive gap that goes out to deep point, where the ball has barely gone, and if it does, it's because the ball is a wretched one, and England have got a gigantic number of runs. So it does seem puzzling, but it's there, and that's what it is. 81 for 1, Azhar to 15. So in a 5-test series last year against Australia, each match was worth 24 points.
You're looking for Andy, aren't you?
Well, I'm double checking I'm right, I'm hoping I am. Oh, now then, this sharply turning ball has thudded back into the pads of Abid Ali, but not threatening the stumps too high. They're exasperated whelps because the ball did beat the the inside edge of the bat. Oh no, it didn't actually. It got the inside edge of the bat and thudded into the pad, and that's the substance of the oohs and ahs. Bess at the top of his mark, just 5, 6, 7 paces or so in, and Abid Ali just defends into the offside, but is able to push it into that massive gap again and slip. It's to run round Joe Root to collect, and they get through for another run. The source of my irritation here is not that the runs particularly matter, but it means that Bess doesn't get to bowl ball after ball at the same batsman, which is what he wants to be doing, and just any kind of rotation takes a bit of the pressure off here. Abid on 42, Azhar on 15. Forward short leg and slip are the only catching positions. Bess in. And Azhar Ali drives nicely into space on the offside. That was to the left of extra cover. The fielder has to run around from that deep point boundary. It's Mark Wood who's out there, deputising, and they get through for 2. Azhar to 17. His excellent test continues. Pakistan 84 for 1. Andy, before I'm leaving after this ball, have I summarised that pretty much accurately?
Pretty much accurately. And
I don't like pretty much accurately. Bess in, Azhar Ali drives firmly down the ground, but can't beat mid-on. Anderson does the fielding. The end of the over, 8-4 from it. 84 for 1 after 45 overs. Azhar Ali 17, Abid Ali 42. This excellent Pakistan resistance continues. More words from Andy Zaltzman, who will, I hope, fill us in on the details, and then it will be Atif Nawaz.
My disapproval was for a format in which some games are worth 24 points and other games are worth 60, which is questionable from a competitive point of view. The points for a draw, it's not shared. So in a 60-point game in a 2-game series, 20 points for a draw, 30 points if it's a tie. In a 3-game series such as this, 40 points for a win, 13 for a draw. And in the Ashes last summer, a 5-game series, 24 for a win, 8 for a draw. So I think there are, well, it's clearly a good idea to give context to Test cricket. I'm not sure the format is entirely satisfactory.
You would suggest that those numbers are quite confusing, Andy.
Well, it would fit perfectly into the world of cricket. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Good dogged resistance this from Pakistan, not quite rolling over. Though England always seem to be kind of threatening, and this is one thing that I've noticed about the teams, and maybe it's just me, Michael, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this after this delivery from Stuart Broad, who comes in and bowls short but down the leg side through to the keeper, no run. It feels like England are always threatening, even in passages of play where they can't take wickets. They're always thinking quite dynamically. We've got this unusual field now for Stuart Broad where they're trying something different. They've got a different kind of strategy, something Pakistan maybe lacked when they were bowling to Zach Crawley and Jos Buttler. They really looked completely hapless and didn't know where that wicket was coming from, whereas England are trying a variety of things, showing a bit more dynamism from maybe Joe Root than Azhar Ali has.
Yeah, they're thinking out of the box. You have to on these kind of wickets. You know, England don't have 2 or 3 express bowlers that can.
Well, Stuart Broad in once again, fuller delivery driven back to him by Abid Ali, no run.
Yeah, they don't have the express of difference. Jofra Archer's bowled well, but he's really the only one that can get the ball around 90 miles an hour. So you do have to think out the box and try and change angles. Stuart Broad's gone over the wicket, he's gone round the wicket. Looks to me like he's kind of thinking about going back round the wicket. I think he is. He's going to go back round the wicket. He's bowled 2 over the wicket. This is the challenge for the England side on these kind of wickets that you do get overseas. Can they create different angles and different kind of skill sets to get the 20 wickets? So this is a really good challenge for the team in this situation.
Abid Ali on strike now with an open stance. In comes Stuart Broad full, and again driven back to him in identical fashion by Abid Ali, no run. They've managed to really put a bit of a stranglehold and made these runs really difficult to get as well. I remember at one stage in this innings, Pakistan were going at 3.33, and they've slowed down significantly now. They're going at 1.85, and obviously, it's really meaningless in the context of the game how quickly they score their runs, but it does show that England haven't given anything away and they're keeping that pressure up.
Well, Pakistan also, they're not silly. We all know that there's potential of a lot of rain tomorrow, so they can see the day out without too much damage. It's only a small amount of play tomorrow. It gives them a greater chance of getting the draw out of the Test match. There's all sorts of movement out there now. Stuart Broad's going to go over the wicket. It looks to me like they're going to go back to the traditional style of pitch it up and try and find the outside edge. There's movement everywhere. The umpires are moving. You got Richard Illingworth going from cover point to square leg.
They were all a bit late to respond to that left-right situation, weren't they?
It's a late call with halfway through the over. Right, back to plan A. Let's have 2 slips. What else have they got? Short leg's gone. He's gone to square leg. Jimmy Anderson's gone to short mid-wicket. We've got a mid-on in Chris Woakes and a ring field on the offside in Jofra Archer, Dom Sibley and Zach Crawley. So this is like a junior field. This is how you start junior cricket, with three or four fielders on the offside, a few on the leg side, 3 there, fine leg back. Usually have a backstop as well.
Yeah,
they're missing the backstop.
Of course. In comes Stuart Broad now, and he bowls a slightly back of a length delivery to Abid Ali. He just plays it into the onside for no run. He's shown a lot of patience as well, Abid Ali, as you say, with one eye on the weather tomorrow. 42 not out from 149 deliveries. He gets his runs quite quickly. And it's a slightly tricky stat I'm going to request from Andy, which is, Abid Ali's got, he's on the verge of his second Test 50, but obviously he has 200s before that. Would you be able to work out how many balls it took him to get to 50 in those hundreds?
Yes.
And his third 50, and this 50 if this is the slowest?
This will be his fourth 50, not his second. It's one of the things that irritates me most in cricket statistics.
Well, the fourth time he's gone past 50 in Test cricket. Well,
correct.
if he gets there. I beg your pardon, Andy. I beg your pardon. Please forgive me. In comes Stuart Broad, wide of the crease, left alone, through to the keeper, no run. But he's still got a lot of work to do. It doesn't seem like one of those. It's not a traditional Abid Ali 50 in the sense it's not free flowing. The runs haven't really come to him. He's not created too many shots. He's had to be very patient, let a lot of stuff go outside the off stump, ducked a lot of deliveries that were short.
Well, I think as a Test match player, you can't just be a player that just plays one innings. You can't just be an expansive player all the time. You have to play the situation, and in the situation that he finds himself now, he has to play with a lot of patience. You don't need to be going chasing any deliveries. You just go wait for the odd ball that you can score off. It's all about defence and concentration and discipline. So far, he showed a lot of it.
Indeed, as in comes Stuart Broad, a bit fuller and wider and left alone outside the off stump. A bit more pace on that delivery from Stuart Broad, 88 miles per hour. As the players are going to have a drink. Pakistan 84 for one, not a drink. I think there's a glove change situation which they're going to manufacture into a drinks break. 84 for one.
Yeah, it's just getting a bit darker. Let's look at the clouds that are coming over the hill. It's starting to get a bit thicker. Don't know if there's any more rain forecast, but we've seen the light play an issue around 6:30ish, 6:45. And I would think if it stays like this, we'll be in a similar situation to we had last night, where light played for the day.
Well, we've been talking about Tuffers and Warren show, the Tuffers and Warren show, and it is on 5 Live from 8:30 tonight and will be available as a podcast later. A reminder, you can watch highlights of the day on BBC Sports website and app, or Today at the Test on BBC Two from 7 p.m. I never miss it, unless I'm still on commentary at the time, which has been the case a few times, Andy, I've got to tell you. Well, Pakistan 84 for one in response to being made to follow on. Of course, the start of this Test match, which seems like a long time ago now, England won the toss, batted for almost 2 days. 583 runs they accumulated, largely in part to Zach Crawley's double 100 and Jos Buttler's century. Pakistan responded with 273, in which Azhar, the Pakistani captain, got himself 141 not out, and currently they're 84 for one, still 226 adrift of England's score, as we welcome back the cat, Phil Tufnell.
Meow.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Andy, you've got some stats for us just before we get into Tuffers.
Abid Ali's 3 previous 50-plus scores. The first of them in Rawalpindi against Sri Lanka, 95 deliveries to reach 50. The second also against Sri Lanka in Karachi, 70 balls. And in against England in the previous Test here in Southampton at the GS Bowl, 99 balls. So this would be comfortably the slowest of his 4 half-centuries, should he reach there.
Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, got a bit flat, hasn't it?
Well,
they
yes.
played very well. I've been impressed with Abid Ali. He's lined it up beautifully, hasn't he? Looked to play from the crease. As you say, he's a shorter kind of opening batsman, but left very well outside off stump and lined it up very nicely.
How does he compare to me yesterday, Tuffers? You had a few deliveries at me on the concourse. How did that go for you?
You were in good form. I'd say if you were in very good form. You looked good.
You did turn one square off the drain, though.
Well, there you go. If only I could have taken that drain round with me about 20 years ago. But didn't see too many at Lord's on a length. But there you go. No, it was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good fun indeed. Yeah. And yes, as you say, Abid Ali's playing a superb knock, showing a different skill. As Michael Warren was just saying, Test cricket is all about showing a variation of skills. You can't just be this free-flowing batsman all the time. You got to show that you can rein the shots in when you need to, and that's just what he's done today.
Yeah, it has. And then also with this weather around, I know we've been talking about it a lot. It's coming tonight and tomorrow. It just gives the batting side something a little bit more to focus on, because they might get a chance here. Come on, let's get stuck in, because we might lose a session or two tomorrow. If there was sort of like a day and a session to go, they might be sort of viewing it a little bit different, and it's going to be really tough work. But and on the other side, of course, the bowling side gets a little bit anxious. Crikey, we're going to be running out of time. So I think the threat of weather is helping Pakistan here.
Mentally, it's got a way on the England bowlers. I've been very impressed by the dynamism they've shown still. England trying different things, mixing it up with the bowlers, the tactics, the different kinds of fields. As we say again, missing when Pakistan were in the field. But even so, have you got some sweets over there?
Sorry, I was
Lovely.
just having
I just distracted me.
Don't grasp me up.
I fancied a sweet myself. Maybe later. No, absolutely. I mean, they've already applied themselves here, and it's easy for the shoulders to drop. How do England continue to motivate themselves in this scenario, Tuffers?
This is where you've got your senior players, you've got your wicket keepers, this is where you need 11 captains out there, because Joe's sort of going through the sort of the A to Z of captaincy and how they're trying to prize wickets out and everything. You've just got to keep going. You've got to keep bubbly. Keeper's got a lot to do now. You know what I mean? Come on, lads. Let's jog it through. Let's keep going. And you've just got to sort of, say, go up to Jimmy Anderson, Stuart, well, what do you think? How can we just try and sort of eke something out here, make something happen? Unfortunately for England, someone like a Ben Stokes is handy in this scenario.
Golden arm.
Yeah, a little bit of a golden arm you need here, just to try and make something happen. But you've got to keep being patient.
Well, the patience continues as Azhar on strike. He's played really well himself, 17 from 59. He's no stranger to a patient innings. He's on strike, taking guard again to Dom Bess with one slip and short leg in place. In comes Dom Benth on a good length and just turned slightly towards him. Azhar covering the movement with that forward stride. No run.
That's the perfect line and length that he needs to just live on. 6 balls out of 6, and you want to bring that bloke up. I'm sure Michael's been talking about it. That bloke up to keep the single, stop him getting a single.
In comes Bess once again, similar length, a bit quicker this time, and driven to the mid-on area where Rory Burns comes around and collects the ball. No run scored.
Because as a spin bowler, you want a full set of 6 at someone, so you can start playing with your line, start playing with your trajectory and sort of like different paces. If you keep rotating the strike, you've got a new bloke to try and build your over against.
Bess in once again, just back of leg pushed into that exact gap as described by Phil Tufnell for a single, dissipating a little bit of pressure there. Azhar on to 18. He called it, Tuffers.
I did. It's annoying me a little bit. I'm going to have another cola bottle.
That's the crossest face I've seen from you, Tuffers.
I know,
but a single was scored.
I know. Well, it was just annoying. It's just annoying because you want to help him.
Yeah.
And this is where Joe Root should see this a little bit as well. You want to get a full set of 6 at one batsman. Just too easy to knock it away.
In comes Bess once again, just on a probing length, just outside off stump. Abid Ali this time in forward in defence, no run. But there is, as you say, that big gap in that point region.
Yeah.
We've got some fielders, some cover at cover, but there's a huge gap if you can get it square.
Yeah, and then also, Eric comes. He's been listening to me.
In comes that fielder that was sweeping deep in the covers, has come into a more conventional point position.
Better field.
Just a little bit deep at point, but still there, blocking the single as Bess comes in and draws Abid forward into another defensive shot.
And then what also that does, all of a sudden there, you're not getting a lot of value for your push through extra cover there, because there's a fielder there, so he's just going, well, I'm just going to put that shot away, I'm just going to defend. Now he's thinking, well, if I can just get it through that offside, I might get a 4 couple or a 3 or something, and it just brings in the inside edges, outside edges, and bowls through the gate.
And
there you go.
Loopy delivery that time from Dom Bess, giving it a lot of air and driven to extra cover for no run. 85 for 1.
Nailing
it. Tuffers in control. Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, digital radio, online and via the BBC Sounds app. But Radio 4 long-wave listeners are leaving us briefly for the shipping forecast. Right, there we go.
Yeah, and there you go. And then you saw Abid Ali, who hasn't had that big expansive drive outside the off stump. He's just tossed one up because he's had 2 or 3 balls at him, and he thinks, right, there's my scoring shot. I can get a 4 there. Little bit of turn, it goes through the gate or something. So that's better constructing an over. That's working with your captain. That's how you go about it as a spin bowler.
Yeah, a little bit of guile. A little bit of guile. You've got to get yourself in the coaching setup there, Tuffers.
Yeah.
I think you've got a lot to offer. That's a wonderful observation. Called it like you were just telegraphing it.
Well,
calling all the roulette numbers one at a time before they turn up.
Yeah. But when you've done it for so long, you can see just the rhythm, and you go to bed thinking about little tactics and plans and bluffs and double bluffs, because that's actually all you got as a spin bowler. Yeah. You've got to try and make the batsman think how he doesn't want to play. and so that's the one we've got to try and play it against the spin through the offside, because I've blocked out the leg side sweep and the deep square leg and all these kind of things. You've got to be continually ticking through your head, and the skipper as well, unless you've got a very experienced spin bowler who sort of knows his plans.
Well, we're going to have Seam from the other end, one of the most experienced seam bowlers in the world, probably the most experienced seam bowler in the world active in cricket today. Is Jimmy Anderson coming in?
Is he?
He is. He's coming in from the far end, and he's got two slips in place. He's got that fielder on the onside that's just off the strip, just in the batsman's eye line, and a very straightish short mid-off as well. As in he comes now to Azhar Ali. He bowls wide outside the off stump and draws a little wafty push from Azhar Ali outside the off stump. He was looking to just get a little nudge on that, nearly tickled it through to the keeper. Immediately something happening for England.
Yeah, good delivery. Bit of reverse swing perhaps or not, I'm not quite sure, but they can see that they've been working hard on that ball, and that's the sign of the pitch. As you say, you've got to Azhar Ali, you've got two men on the drive on the leg side, one on the offside, so it's almost looking for the one that's stopping. It's such a slow pitch, trying to drive it and perhaps not quite getting there, or it's sticking in the pitch and bringing those men in to catch.
In comes James Anderson, this time just wide of Azhar Ali. He just pushes it defensively into the covers for no run. And yes, again, it's very dynamic, isn't it? It's out of the box, the way they've got this plan in place. Two men on the drive, a third ready if you count Jofra Archer at that wideish set mid-on. They're really looking to create chances on this slow pitch, wary of the ball that might just stick in the surface a little bit. It's something I'm hoping Azhar Ali is taking note of while he's out there.
I'm sure.
People being dynamic in difficult circumstances.
He's trying to make something happen.
In comes Jimmy Anderson once again, short outside the off stump now and punch through the gap in the covers. He'll take the first one quickly, they'll think about the second, and they will come back for it. They'll take two welcome runs as Azhar Ali in 20. Welcome back to Radio 4 long wave listeners as well. Pakistan 87 for 1 here, Azhar Ali on 20, Abid Ali on 42, and Jimmy Anderson steaming in from the far end. 3 deliveries into his 10th over. Pakistan trailing by 223 runs yet, and we are expecting some more weather at some stage, either today or tomorrow. Perhaps both.
Francis.
Yes, Hurricane Francis. Storm Francis, I beg your pardon. In comes Jimmy Anderson on the back foot in defence. Is Azhar Ali pushed into the covers for no run.
It's quite a big difference, I reckon. You got me a bit panicked there, Artie.
Listen, in northwest London,
is there something I don't know?
I've got a very peculiar weather app, Tuffers. I'll share it with you later.
No, well, thank heavens it's not.
87 for 1.
It's better be pretty big though. So yeah, and you can just feel it building a little bit in the distance as well now.
Jimmy Anderson now comes in once again and bowls a flush delivery that squares up Azhar Ali a touch as he pushes with soft hands into the covers. No run. A lot more noise as well out there. Now some support. I think England sensing that they're on the verge of something with Pakistan 87 for 1.
I mean, a lot of these sort of field places are a bit funky, and you think that you're going to try and get someone there, but a lot of it is just to get something or a different thought in the batsman's mind. Really, half the time it's a little bit of a bluff. There's nothing happening, on the pitch.
In comes Jimmy Anderson once again. Good length delivery outside off stump, and Azhar Ali firmly behind that, pushing into the covers defensively for no run, and well, I make that a 5-ball over. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh well, that's interesting. Well, it's the end of the 48th either way. Pakistan 87 for 1. The lights are on. It's pretty gloomy here in Southampton. Phil Tufnell's going to try and count back the deliveries while I make way for Jonathan Agnew.
How do you know? Do you count the deliveries?
I tried to keep track while I'm here.
Oh, God.
I had 6.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I probably just missed down. I was mesmerised by Tuffer's analysis. Tuffer's. I'm sure you've mesmerised many a commentator before. As I'm going to make way.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, England just going through the changes, funky fields, trying to change it up. Anderson and Broad round and over the wicket. It's just got a bit flat. Ball seems to have gone soft as well. Joe Root keeps asking the umpires to have a little look at it. It's tough out there, John.
It is, and the skies are filling in again. I'm afraid there is rain on the way. Maybe not quite yet, but Bess on his way bowls to Abid, who's played very stubbornly. Is 42 not out, and he plays that ball out to cover, and there's no run. The lights are on. It's all a bit miserable, isn't it? It's hard work for England. Crikey.
It is.
They've just not really. Well, there's some strange tactics too. There's Bess bowling. Oh, now this time Abid plays a bit of a loose drive, and Ball runs out to mid-wicket. I mean, why is Stuart Broad going into the short pitch round the wicket mode with...
I don't know, Jofra Archer doing
No, that's his job.
Yeah.
Really odd. I don't understand what that was all about. It just looked a bit like desperation, really.
Yeah.
And Archer doing it fine, round the wicket, 90 miles an hour. 87 for 1. In goes Bess, bowls a flatter one, which Abid gets on top of. It's a little short of a length and bounced. And as we say, Abid's not a tall man at all. He had to get up on his toes there and play the ball away to backwards square leg.
He's played well.
He has. And there in the distance we see a familiar sight. As Bess moves in again and bowls and it's defended stubbornly.
Go on.
Well, it's the fourth umpire with the light meter again, isn't it?
Oh,
He's
is
coming
it?
down
It's
the
not.
steps. No, there he is.
Someone go round there, lock the gate.
There he is.
It hasn't got that dark, has it? Oh, I've done a bit.
It is quite dark. Yeah, it's going to get darker, I think.
Francis is brewing.
Yeah. Here's
Bowl.
Bess again, that's turned away into the leg side. Fielded by Bracey there, and there's no run. So yes, Mike Burns, I can spot him there in the gloom. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's casting a rather dejected looking figure. As Bess moves in and bowls again, and Abid defends it. Picked up by Bracey. Here he comes. And he's running on. And he's going to deliver this to umpire Goff.
Let's have a look, is it? No? Oh, is it?
He's got something in his hand.
I don't know whether it's a light meter.
Might not be. Maybe it's...
Oh, it is. He's got it up his sleeve.
Well, the trouble is, you've got to feel sorry for him because he knows what everybody's saying.
He's trying to hide that as
Yeah.
he comes out.
He knows what everyone's saying. And he had slipped it up his shirt sleeve. And now he's sort of run out. He'll come on with a false beard next and a big hat or something. You don't know who he is.
Yeah.
No, he's just slipped it out there to the umpire and he's off on his toes again.
Yeah, nothing to do with me.
No,
nothing
it's
to
not
do
my
with
fault. So umpire Goff is now armed with the dreaded light meter. He's not brandishing it at the moment.
No, like a lightsaber.
But I think Jimmy Anderson knows that the time is ticking away here. He's still on 598 wickets.
God, would be fuming about his mates who dropped them
All
catches
those catches. Azhar's on 20. And in comes Anderson with 2 slips. Moves in now, bowls, and Azhar with so much time. Just stands up and goes poof. Just plays that away to mid-wicket.
What do you do, John, on pitches like this, seam bowlers? I mean, do you just keep plugging away top of off stump, the odd bouncer, or...?
Well, the trouble is, it seems like the right thing to do, but you've just got to try something, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you really have, because he gets running up and bowling a line and length.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, that was dismissive, wasn't it?
It was. You could have read the paper.
87 for 1. Pakistan still 223 behind as Anderson bowls, as played by Azhar out to cover. And there's no run. And
Yeah, I know as a spinner I'd be sort of like, tossing things up and arm balls and all different kind of variations, just trying to unsettle it, but difficult. I think that ball's just gone like orange.
It's very, very soft, isn't it?
Yeah, they're trying to get it to reverse though, that's what I have noticed.
Well, they're not doing any normal polishing.
No.
Here's Anderson bowls, and that's worked away into the leg side. Looking for 2. Bess comes up from the boundary. They just get the 1 run. 88 for 1.
Well, of course, Darren Goff ran out and run up and bowled with his tongue out.
He did.
No, that was a bit
Did you ever try that?
Well, a couple of times.
He did. He ran up putting some very silly faces, didn't he?
It just feels that it's that time now a bit.
Yeah. Running behind the umpire.
Yeah.
Suddenly jump out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or sort of double whirl with the arms.
I'm not sure these two look so well set.
They do.
Anderson again in the gloom, bowls on the off stump. Abid's behind it, and Sibley fields at short mid-off. They've done some strange things with the field, which is fine. Put some people in funny places. Just anything to try and just put the batsman off a bit, make him think, well, why is he standing there?
That's right. They must have a cunning plan.
Yeah, but I was surprised by the broad short approach. He must have been told to do it, but around the wicket and with everybody set for the short ball. Anderson again bowls, and that's him on the pad. Appeal for leg before wicket. Oh, now he's out. Abid Ali has been given out LBW, and Jimmy Anderson has now taken 599 test wickets. Abid's he's going to review it.
Oh, look. close to me.
TV umpire to director. We
Well,
have
now the pressure's on.
LBW. Original decision is out.
Goff
It's a
hasn't
fair
got many
delivery.
wrong.
We could move
He
on to
hasn't
front on
got.
spin
He has
vision,
not got
please.
many wrong. Let's have a look at this one.
It's reversed.
Yeah, it's leg
Okay, let's
stumpish.
go to
Let's say
ultra
that.
edge when available, please.
Pass cool, I reckon.
Yeah, going through flat lines. It goes past the bat.
Can see the
no
off
bat
stump.
involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready.
I reckon the best option is umpire's call.
Yeah.
Red. Umpire's call. He's got it.
Impact in line with this is umpire's
That was
call.
really tight. But
Going to go back to Michael on
it
field.
is Jimmy Anderson's 500th
Decision
and
you're on camera.
99th Test wicket.
Yeah.
And it's Abid Ali who'll go trudging off. He played very well, very stubbornly. He's certainly done his job. And he'll feel a little aggrieved there because that was leg stumpish.
Yeah.
But such are the rules and the laws and the DRS that the umpire's call, if it's a fractional, will condemn the batsman. So he's out for 42. Now,
Well,
this is...
Yes.
There's all sorts of things in here. So we've got the umpires out there with their light meter.
Yeah.
They know the light's not very good.
Yeah.
You know that Jimmy Anderson now will just say, I will bowl as slow as you like. I'll bowl my off spin. I just need to stay out here.
Please. Yeah, they've got it reverse in there, John. That was a definite in swing. Abid Ali just went a little bit too far across, and he just almost sort of like ran his fingers across it as a bit of an off cutter, but it was just shaped past the inside edge of the bat. So there is a little bit of reverse happening now, which will give them heart, the England bowlers.
Well, this presumably is Babar Azam who's coming out, and who Anderson had LBW in the first innings.
Yeah.
But there's so many factors here. The light's not good. The floodlights are on. The umpire's got his light meter poised. And Jimmy Anderson is on 599.
It's a lot.
Abid Ali's innings 42 from 162 balls. That partnership 39 and 26.1 overs.
Yeah. It was more the time than the runs.
Yep. How many balls left in this over? There's only one to go.
Babar Azam as well, what a player.
Yep.
Two great players at the crease now.
I'm going for reverse swing in swinger.
Yeah. Okay.
LBW.
On the front foot, playing around the front pad.
Yeah. LBW. LBW Anderson for 600. Short mid off, short mid on, short mid wicket. Only one slip. And in comes Jimmy Anderson then. The first ball to Babar Azam when he bowls, and he plays that from off stump. Just pushing forward, didn't get very far forward, out to mid-off, and there is no run. Now England are running round here, the fielders are running into position, they know the light's not great, they're desperate to give Jimmy Anderson the chance. The forecast tomorrow is wretched.
But
Pakistan at 88 for 2.
But clearing in the afternoon.
Clearing in the afternoon.
Yes. Yeah, so I think
there could be some late play.
Francis has sort of done a bit.
She's blown out by about lunchtime, but there's still maybe some rain around.
Well, I think it's going to be very wet, obviously.
Yeah, wet and windy.
Yeah. See, that's when it'll be handy. We were talking about this, weren't we? Or I was on Toughers and Vaughan last week to Rob Bransgrove. In the evening now, when you know that this is coming, great big cover and whop it across. You know,
sort of umbrella type
thing. Yeah.
Well, that worked all right, but I think from memory, the motors kept blowing up as well because it was such a heavy thing. I played with the umbrella time. It did cover the whole of Edgbaston.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have to be sort of like blown up or anything, but just a great big sheet.
Now, this is an interesting move because the light is not good.
Yeah.
And rather than continue with the off spinner, Root has brought on Jofra Archer.
Well, what's that?
And he's putting men out here, suggesting he's asking Archer to come in and bowl quickly and short.
Yeah, just come in, Bubba.
So, presumably he's checked with the umpire.
Yeah,
to make sure that the light reading is okay.
Correct, yeah.
But these dark clouds are advancing. I'm not sure Archer's bowled from this end actually in the game so far, but if he has, it's only one spell.
Yeah, it might have been this morning actually.
He's looking at his boots. He's looking a bit suspiciously at the surface there, actually.
Just look, they're all holding the ball on the seam.
Yes.
Right, how do you describe that?
Pincer.
Pincer, well done, yeah, very good. Like a pincer,
Yeah.
like a crab, just ball on the seam, so they're not getting any moisture on the dry side of the ball, which then encourages reverse swing.
Well, Archer's going to go round the wicket as well, and he bowls to Azhar, who turns the first ball away to fine leg. And there's only 3 people in the offside. So round the wicket. This is a well, it's a brave decision from Root, because if he's running up and bowling bouncers in this light, then the umpire is going to be reaching for his light meter.
But he's not at the moment.
Not at the moment. He's striding across to point. There's so many people in the leg side,
And you can be sure that these 2 experienced batsmen will be just having a word with the umpires.
but he's taking guard. Archer's ready to go around the wicket again. No slips. This is for a man who's only faced 1 ball. There's a short leg, a gully.
Yeah, I make you right, John.
Archer scuttles in round the wicket, is there now, and he bowls a short ball, and Babar just dips at the waist and allows that to go over his shoulder.
Now, to you and me, good tactics.
Oh yes.
Yes, but to Babar Azam, probably one of the best top 5 batsmen in the world. Short pitch bowling. He's not gonna really, perhaps when he first comes in, perhaps a bit of top of off stump with a couple of slips.
Just spotted Mark Wood on the field there.
Yeah, he's been running about.
Yes. Who's gone off?
Broad is
Broad's
temporarily off.
89 for 2. Babar yet to score. Archer moves in round the wicket, bowls to him exactly the same. He just sways out of the way, dipping the left knee.